Well, for more on this, we're joined by Rami Khouri, Distinguished Public Policy Fellow at the American University of Beirut. Rami, thanks very much for joining us. So how much optimism then do you have that these talks may produce concrete results?
Well, Aaron, these talks have been going on for many years between the U.S. And Iran. They did reach the JCPOA agreement years ago. The U.S. pulled out of it. So there is a legacy of both talking to each other, making concessions, mutual concessions, reaching an agreement and implementing it until the U.S. broke it. So there's really a little bit more responsibility on the American side to come with a better approach than simply threatening a massive military action, regime change, and even stronger sanctions. I think that the fact that they're meeting is a very positive indicator that both sides would rather have a diplomatic resolution than more fighting. The Iranians are not afraid of being attacked. They know that they have been already attacked by the U.S. and Israel. And they're made it clear that if they are attacked, they're going to create hell in the whole region, including perhaps stopping oil passing through the Straits of Hormuz and making problems for the whole region and the whole world. That's why there was intense pressure by a group of Arab countries, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, others, Qatar, on the U.S. to go into the talks, not to leave them as they threatened some time ago. So the fact that they're starting is a good sign, and the fact that they've been able to reach agreement before is a good sign. And the third point is that the issues that are being discussed, they all have some wiggle room. There are ways that they can reach an accommodation that lets each side feel that it's achieved its main goal and retained its dignity. But to achieve that, you need some pretty sophisticated diplomats, and we'll see what both sides are able to do now.
Is it fair to suggest the US go into these talks with the upper hand? Clearly, there's been a lot of civil unrest in Iran recently. Its nuclear capabilities have already been damaged last year by US and Israeli attacks. And there is obviously this military build-up in the region from the United States. Is Iran under more pressure to concede in these talks?
On paper, it would sound like that, and that's what a lot of people in the West are saying. But in practice, I don't think that's actually a reasonable conclusion. The U.S. certainly has massive power, military power, and it's used it in Iran, in the region, elsewhere. It's used it in Vietnam. It's used it in Afghanistan. It's used it in places around the world where it finally left because military power by itself is not going to do the job. I think some Americans understand that, but not all the people in Washington do. The Iranians understand that they have serious pressures internally, popular discontent, economic collapse, running out of water. There's all kinds of really serious pressures internally in Iran that are also mismanagement by the government, many reasons, and the sanctions. 9 million Iranians were plunged into poverty in the last 14 years or so because of the American sanctions. So there are many factors that are at play here. Military power is one of them, but also the ability to find that middle ground is really the key one. The Americans keep threatening regime change. They did that with the British in 1953, and it only ended up bringing us the Islamic Republic and Ayatollah Khomeini and that. So I think regime change by external force is a stupid idea. The Americans don't seem to quite understand that, and they keep talking about it. So we'll have to see what happens. I think the chances of moving ahead very slowly, step by step, are better now than they were 2-3 weeks ago. And the likelihood that the way they'll probably achieve this is start just talking about the nuclear enrichment. That's an area where they know they can reach an agreement. The level of enrichment, the amount of enriched uranium, where do you store it, what facilities do you have? And that will make sure they cannot produce a nuclear weapon, which they say, the Iranians, they don't want a weapon, but the Americans insist they have, and the Israelis. And of course, the Americans are doing this mostly for Israel. Iran is not a threat to the U.S. But by talking on the nuclear issue, agreeing there, then they might move on to the other issues that the Americans want. Well, the nuclear issue and sanctions relief would be the first thing. And then they could get on to the issue of Iran's ballistic missiles, relations with its allies across the region, and things of that nature, which the U.S. And Israel insist have to be agreed on. The Iranians say, we'll talk nuclear first, and then let's see what happens after that, which is, I think, the sensible way to go.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what comes out of these talks in Oman on Friday. Rami, thank you, as always, for joining us here on TRT World.
Thanks, Aaron.